Have you ever been online trying to buy concert tickets or maybe some limited edition sneakers, and right when you click buy, the whole website just freezes? We've all been there. But what if I told you that when this exact thing happened to millions of Taylor Swift fans back in 2022, it wasn't just some random glitch. It was actually a deep, fundamental flaw in how so much of the internet is built.
To really get a handle on the chaos, you have to understand the sheer scale of this thing. The moment tickets for the Eras Tour went live, Ticketmaster got hit with an absolute tsunami of traffic. I mean, we're talking about 14 million fans, and that's not even counting all the automated bots all hitting the site at the exact same millisecond.
And for so many of those fans, this was what they saw. Just an endless, spinning, loading icon. A browser window that was totally frozen. That horrible feeling of being so close, but the technology just completely failed. The site just could not handle it.
Yeah, among fans, the whole event is now known as the Great War. We're talking about the presale for Taylor Swift's Eras Tour. And it was such a complete technological meltdown that it actually got the attention of US lawmakers. Seriously.
So let's go beyond the angry tweets and the headlines. What was really going on behind the curtain? This whole event turns out to be a perfect, and I mean perfect, case study for why these massive digital meltdowns happen.
So here's the mystery, right? How does one of the largest ticketing websites on the planet just completely seize up? The problem, it turns out, wasn't a lack of computer power. No, it was the way the computers were told to handle all those requests. And it all boils down to one single really important idea in software.
The system was synchronous. Now, think about that word for a second. Syn means together. Chronos means time. So everything has to happen together at the same time. When you clicked buy, the system basically forced you to wait right there until it had a final answer for you. You were completely, totally blocked.
A really great way to think about this is the phone call analogy. Imagine calling a customer service line and they put you on hold. What can you do? Nothing. You can't use your phone for anything else. You're just stuck there listening to that awful music, completely blocked until someone picks up. Well, in this case, your web browser was basically put on hold by Ticketmaster's servers.
And here's where it all fell apart. Each one of those 14 million fans was like a separate person making a phone call, all at once. But just like a call center, the servers only have a limited number of phone lines, or what engineers call threads. When every single line is tied up with someone on hold, the system can't take any more calls. It's totally overwhelmed. It just crashes.
Okay, so if that phone call system completely breaks under pressure, what's the alternative? Well, there's a much smarter, much more elegant approach. The book Bridge the Gap calls it the call you back system. This little comparison says it all. On the left, you have the phone call model. You call, you wait, you're blocked. But on the right, you have what's basically an email model. You send your request off, and then you're free to go do other things. The system works on it in the background and just lets you know when it's done. This is the big idea of asynchrony.
And that right there, asynchrony, is the key to solving this whole mess. It separates your request from the final answer. The system basically says, hey, I got your request. I promise I'll get to it. Go on about your day. But that brings up a new problem, right? How does a system keep track of all those promises without just getting overwhelmed anyway? The answer, and this is another great analogy, is a busy restaurant kitchen. Think about it. When a waiter takes your order, they don't sprint to the stove and start cooking themselves. No, they put the order ticket on that spinning wheel thing. That wheel is a queue. Then the chefs, the system's workers, can just pull tickets from the queue one by one and cook at a nice, steady, manageable pace. So even if the whole restaurant orders at once, the kitchen doesn't explode. The wheel just gets full of tickets.
And that is the absolute magic of a queue. It acts like a buffer, a shock absorber for the system. It can take a huge sudden spike in traffic that would normally crash everything, and it just transforms that chaos into a predictable, manageable delay. The restaurant might get a little slow for a bit, but the kitchen doesn't burn to the ground.
So let's bring this all back to buying tickets online. This whole queue concept, well, it actually has a pretty familiar name that I'm sure a lot of you have seen before. That's right, a virtual waiting room is just a queue with a nice, friendly user interface. See, instead of your browser freezing up and crashing, the system is just being honest with you. It's saying, look, we got your request, you're number 14,500 in line. Hang tight, we'll let you in as soon as we can.
So here's how it all should have worked. Step 1, you show up and you get a number. Simple. Step 2,
the system only lets in a safe, steady number of buyers at a time, so it never gets overloaded. Step 3, and this is crucial, you are not blocked. Your browser isn't frozen. You can do other things. The result? A system that's fair, it's transparent, and most importantly, it doesn't crash.
So you see, the Taylor Swift concert disaster wasn't just a story about too much demand. It was a failure of design, a failure of architecture. And it teaches us a really powerful lesson for anyone who builds, well, anything on the internet. The lessons here are crystal clear. First off, don't block the user. If something's going to take more than a few seconds, you have to do it asynchronously. Second, use queues. They are the shock absorbers that will protect your system from those crazy traffic spikes. And finally, you have to be willing to make a trade. A small delay for each user, what we call latency, is infinitely better than a total system crash that helps nobody.
Now, this whole way of thinking about things, using these really simple, powerful analogies to explain complicated systems, it comes from this amazing book called Bridge the Gap by Sriram Gopalan. It's just packed with these real-world war stories that make these tech concepts really easy to grasp, even if you're not an engineer. And that kind of leaves us with one final thought. Now that you get the difference between synchronous and asynchronous, and you see the power of a simple queue, think about it for a second. What other huge website crashes, or chaotic product launches, or digital meltdowns have you seen that can probably be explained by these exact same principles?
The answer is way more than you think. And we're going to be breaking down a lot more of them right here. So if you enjoyed this explainer and you want to make more sense of the wild digital world we live in, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching.